Alright, what is up guys? So today I have a gameplay of my rank 3 Sabretooth up against the Collector, and I'm sure all of you would have known by now that when you pair Killmonger and Sabretooth up together, you will get the No Mercy synergy, which allows Sabretooth to negate the Masochism node because inflicting any debuff would decrease the opponent's ability accuracy by 100%. So I thought it would be very interesting if I tested it out on the Collector, whose awakened ability allows him to have a 55% chance to remove any debuffs immediately due to his unending tenacity. So yeah, I hope you guys stay tuned for that fight. There are two fights actually against the Collector, so yeah. But first, let's go ahead and talk about Sabretooth's passive Fury. So here is a spreadsheet on that. I hope you guys will be able to understand what I'll be talking in the next few minutes. So yeah, basically when you start the first fight with 0 persistent charges, you will be randomized into getting 3, 4, 5 or 6 of them. So the maximum temporary to passive fury that you can convert per fight is 5. And then let's assume that all fights are ended with temporary fury buff still active. So the bottom row of the persistent charge just indicates that you will use up 1 persistent charge for every fight. So when you have 3, you'll become 2, 1 and 0. And since you have converted a total of 5 passive fury and you ended the fight with 1 temporary fury buff active, you will start off the second fight with 6. So basically it's just 5 plus 1, and then you do so again for the next fight. So it's 6 plus 5 plus 1, which brings you a total of 12 when you start off your third fight. But for your third fight, since you are capped at a total of 15 passive fury you can hold in that fight, at the end of your third fight you will only have a total of 15 passive fury, and you add 1 to that when you ended the fight with 1 temporary fury buff active, so that will bring you up to a total of 16 passive fury when you start off your fourth fight. So yeah, that is basically it. So if you are lucky, you start off the fight with 6 persistent charges, and so the highest passive fury that you can reach with 6 persistent charges is a total of 19. So you start off with 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so yeah, that is basically it. I hope this is not too confusing for you guys. I do actually have a Realm of Legends gameplay showcasing this whole passive fury thing with Sabretooth. So yeah, I might post that up later on after this collector video. So yeah, let's now hop on to the fights before the collector and see how I actually gain the passive fury before fighting him. Okay, so let's have the first fight, which was up against Kang. I will only be showing the fights that Sabretooth fought. So I have brought in my Sabretooth, Killmonger, Slug Spidey, Wolverine for the added 6% increase in attack, and Blade for the off-screen magic fight because I went to Path C. That was the shortest path in the Collector's chapter. So yeah, there is a global node called Bane, which has a 12%, 12 seconds timer. So basically, if you don't hit the opponent or you get hit by the opponent, you will be inflicted by the degen debuff. So yeah, you will see that I also ended the fight with 49 hits. So that was just 1 hit off from getting to 50 hits, which would have gave me 1 temporary fury buff, and I could have converted that into a passive fury one. So it was alright. I entered the second fight with 4 passive fury, and in this fight you will find out that it was pretty clutch. I messed up the timing of the synthesis, so I didn't bait out the SP1, and then the synthesis hits right here, so I push him to his SP3, but luckily I was able to get a parry off and used my SP1 and then finish him off with the intercept afterwards. So yeah, in this fight I managed to get a 4 passive fury as well. So since Psylocke isn't a bleed immune champion, I was only able to get 3 passive fury out of this fight. So yeah, that is basically it. Is there anything to look out for in this fight? I think only the heavy attack of Psylocke. Yeah, the distance that it covers, it's pretty far, it's pretty wide. So yeah, the next fight was up against Iceman. So this is the last fight Sabretooth fought before the Collector. So I managed to get a 4 passive fury converted in this fight. So I used my SP1, I believe, yep, to convert it to 12, parried him, and transferred the Bane. And because Sabretooth was able to idle for 1 second during the dashback of Iceman's SP1, he was able to convert the temporary fury buff into a passive one, and I did that method twice, as you saw. So yeah, basically that is it. I managed to get Iceman down in 45 hits. So that was the last conversion of my temporary fury buff into a passive one. So right now I would only have 1 persistent charge remaining, and that will be used in my fight against the Collector. So this is my first fight against him, and I think I was playing too hasty, and you will find out why, because I kept pushing him to his SP2 and I didn't really read up on his abilities once again. So yeah, it's been a long while since I fought the Collector, and basically when he's under 55%, all of his special attacks will be unblockable, and I didn't use that to my advantage during the first attempt. So I blocked the whole hits of the SP2 and gained a bit of degen damage from Bane itself. And since he's below 55% health, his special attacks will be unblockable, so that is why you will see me trying to block every hit of his to not allow him to use his special attacks. But yep, I tried to evade the SP2 but was just not getting the right timing, and there goes my first attempt. So right now it is my second attempt against the Collector, and once again we will have a fight against Iceman first. So I already have 14 passive fury with me, so dashing backwards and idle for 1 second allows me to convert it to 15, and then at the end of the fight I managed to end it off with the temporary fury buff still active, so that will bring my passive fury up to 16 for the fight against the Collector. So yeah, it was 1 more passive fury more than the previous run. So I've also read up on the Collector's abilities to refresh and better prepare myself for this run against the Collector again. So I heal up my Sabretooth to max health, because right now I wanted to test out how far am I able to get the Collector down to in one try with just Sabretooth and his 16 passive fury. So you will see that in this fight I played way more passively, and I used the first parry to place the Bane on him, and used the second parry to try not to push him to his SP1. Waited the Bane to tick off a little before trying to parry him again, but it didn't work out. So right now the plan is to bait out as many SP1 as I possibly can before his health reaches 55%, because by then his special attacks will be unblockable, like I said. And I bait out his SP1 once again, because his SP1 deals way less damage compared to the SP2 as you guys saw earlier. So I'm pushing him to another SP1, and this will be the last SP1 that I'm blocking before I parried him and used my SP2 and pushed him to less than 55%. So right now you will see me blocking all the hits, because that is the only way to prevent him from using his unblockable specials. And then I got actually quite lucky, because I managed to get the SP1 and get another intercept in before he uses his SP3, and there goes my Sabretooth. So overall in one try I managed to get the Collector down to 23%. That is not too shabby. Yeah, so that is the gameplay that I had for you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. Adios.